Hi everyone, it's Jess here from the Children's Family Trust, and I'm really happy to be sharing this video with you today because we're going to be taking some time to sit down with some of our current foster carers just to find out a little bit more about them and about their experience of fostering. Due to the COVID situation, we are doing this virtually, but we will be rolling with the times. So I'm really grateful to Meghan and Ellie for sitting down with me today and having a discussion. I'm really excited that we're actually getting to do this because, as many of you know, there is a shortage of foster carers across the UK. So we're really hopeful that if this video makes it in front of somebody who is interested in fostering or has some questions about fostering, that this will encourage them to reach out and have a discussion with us. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you do have. And we're always looking for people, so please do reach out. So without further ado, let's get started. Ladies, thank you for joining me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Meghan, and this is my wife, Ellie.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Thanks for having us today.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Do you want to give the viewers just a little bit of an overview of your experience of fostering?
Sure. So we were foster carers for the local authority. And then we took a break from fostering after adopting one of our foster children. And then we rejoined fostering with the CFT. So we fostered in total 6 children.
Wonderful. That's brilliant. That's really great. So you've obviously got some previous experience before coming to us. So let's just go right back to the beginning. What made you make the decision that you wanted to become foster carers?
At the time, there was this advertisement on the back of a bus that I was constantly following on my way into work, and it was sort of, I was always behind this bus on this hill going up. So just kind of constantly looking at this advertisement day after day going into my office, and it kind of was a little seed that was plugged in my mind of something that we could do. I mean, this was before we had, we didn't have any children at the time, and Ellie and I always knew that we wanted to parent. So I think it was my idea that I brought it.
It was a mutual idea. I proposed it, and then we went to an information meeting, and I think we both loved children, and felt that we had a lot to offer. So we thought, let's go for it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So how long would you say it kind of took you to make that decision that you were going to foster? Was there a lot of discussion around it, or was it just something that you both kind of went for?
Yeah, I think we talked about it for a while, didn't we? And it also, at the time, we were living in a shared house with friends, so it required us to move and get our own place, just the two of us. So it was a little bit of a process to kind of get all the pieces in order to be able to be in a position to open our home to a child.
Oh, wow. Okay, brilliant. So once you obviously applied to foster, what was the reaction of your family and friends and the people around you? Were they supportive?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think that people were surprised because well, I hadn't finished my PhD yet at the time, so I was still studying, and so I think there might have been a sense that we were maybe a bit young at the time, but generally people were supportive, but surprised and supportive.
Yeah, because we were still in our 20s when we first started fostering, and that's much younger, I think, than your average foster carer. But I think age, really doesn't matter. We have fabulous friends who fostered at the age of 75. Or, people who start fostering in their 20s or 30s. It's really about having the space and the love and the care to offer.
Yeah, what you have to offer to the child rather than, fitting some sort of preset criteria. We don't believe in that. Okay, so you've obviously, as you'd said, obviously you were foster carers previously and then adopted your daughter, and now you've come back to fostering. So you will have been through the fostering assessment process a couple of times. How did you find that process?
I think most people find it long, but particularly the first time around, I would say. But it's, it's kind of it's an opportunity to reflect, and they ask you a lot of questions about your relationship and your childhood and your family. And I didn't find anything overly intrusive or things like this, but it is an opportunity to reflect on yourself and the strengths that you bring, and in that way, it's positive. It was much faster the second time around.
And you're much more able to talk about our experiences the second time around. But I think the first time around, after we began fostering, I was surprised how much I drew on things we had discussed in the approval process, and just drew on kind of your strengths of your networks, and your knowledge about how you yourself were parented as a child, and what you wanted to change and what you really wanted to take forward in terms of your parenting and care for other children.
Wow. It was very different at two different times, because the first time we had never parented, and so there wasn't so much to draw on in terms of parenting experience. And then the second time around, we of course had quite a lot of parenting experience with our adopted daughter, and also the previous foster children, and who all were sort of, the different children were at many different ages, teenagers, younger children. We had children for longer periods and for shorter periods. So we'd had quite a wide range of experiences at that point to draw on, and to kind of evidence the way in which that we would be good carers for CFT.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so obviously you had your break when you adopted your daughter, and you shared with me before this interview that you also have your own birth child, which is fantastic. But then you decided to come back to fostering. What was it that made you make that decision to come back into it for a second time?
I think we just felt like the kids were in a good place, and it's that they'd be part of the whole fostering family. That would be an environment that was really conducive for a fostered child, for an additional child to come into. I felt like we felt like we had the energy and the mental capacity and the space to offer that to an additional child. And I think, when you are a foster carer, sometimes it can become a little bit of a part of your identity, in a way, the way that you feel like you are offering this to the to the world, and it's in line with our values of being able to do what you can to support other people. So it felt like it was, and our kids were at our kids were at a good stage. Yeah. So all the pieces kind of fit, I think.
Yeah, I think we felt like we could still make a difference. And we'd had foster children before that we felt like would really thrive more if they were in a household with other children. And so to be able to offer that to a child where it'd be kind of the right fit or the right match, we felt in a good position to do so.
And our daughter was super keen. I mean, she's old enough to be able to, she's not now, so she, is old enough for us to have that conversation with her, and she was, she was delighted by the idea, and she's really excited.
Oh, that's amazing. So when you came back into fostering and you were looking around, what was it that made you decide to choose the Children's Family Trust this time around?
When we started thinking about it, I thought, well, let's see what's out there. And we are part of this group that it's called New Family Social. That's a sort of a support group. It has different kinds of activities during non-COVID times that we're quite integrated in. That's for foster carers and adoptive parents on the LGBT spectrum. And so I just punched in what are the agencies that have been deemed by that group to be supportive and good agencies for LGBT families, and Children's Family Trust was I think it was the only one that came up that was one of the nonprofit ones, which was important to us. So we just sent in an email inquiry, and I was a bit surprised that we got a response really quickly. I was almost expecting to have like a little bit of time to think about it a little bit more, but we got someone called us right away, and we had a really nice chat.
I think going back to, it was really important when we were with the local authorities, sometimes we had gotten really good support, and sometimes just because the social workers had such a high caseload and the turnover of social workers, sometimes the support was a bit patchy. So it was really important for us to go back and foster with the agency where we felt like we'd have good support, and the children in our care would also receive good support.
Wonderful, brilliant. So I do know that you guys are waiting for your first placement with us at the moment. So what is it that you're looking for? Are you particularly searching for children of certain age range, or what is it that are we considering when we're matching children with you at the moment?
We're quite flexible. We have in the past had quite a lot of success with unaccompanied asylum-seeking children, so tend to be older children, so teenagers, which we've had 2 placements in the past that were unaccompanied asylum-seeking kids that we felt went really, really well. Both of us have experience living in other countries, speaking other languages, so I think we brought a lot of that, the sort of intercultural differences and, you know, need to use Google Translate and all these things wasn't something that was very bothersome to us. Okay. So it felt like maybe that was a niche area, that's something that we were quite good at it. So that's one option that that we're exploring, that we feel excited about.
I think for us too, it's just about the child being the right fit for our family. So it could be a child in between our children's ages, or a sibling group that's the right fit, or kind of an older child or an unaccompanied asylum-seeking child. And in the past, because we have a diverse group of friends, we've helped arrange Quran lessons for children, or really explored what activities they want to do and support them in that way. So yeah, it's just about finding kind of the right fit.
Excellent. And then you can get on and carry on and foster even more children than you have already and make such a brilliant difference. So I guess just one final question really. What would you say to anybody that is thinking about fostering? Do you have any advice, any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
I think I guess I would say I have had so many friends actually that have considered adopting and fostering, and I think it's important for them to you know, think through what it is that you feel you have to offer, and what you have, the, you know, the emotional space, you know, to try and to think through exactly like the kind of fostering that you might like to do, whether it's, you know, do you want, do you really want a child that's with you long term, or are you happy with short term? To have, you know, think through exactly what it is that you feel like you have to offer, what would fit with where you are at in your life at that moment. But I think there's so many different options in fostering, whether it's respite or short term, long term. That there's, you know, I think there's almost something for anyone if you feel like you have the emotional space. So I think it's about thinking through what it is that you would like to do, and yeah, taking the steps for it to happen.
I would also encourage anyone who becomes a foster carer to have a sense of humor.
Important.
Very important. So and have, like, just be continually trying to improve and best take care of that individual child or young person. It is a very, very rewarding experience. It also can be a very kind of difficult one. I think we felt very, very fortunate in our fostering experiences. Even one child who was with us for quite a long time and returned back to her birth mother, many years later, we're still in very frequent contact with her. So it can be a really lovely and rewarding experience to take care of a child for a long time or a short period of time.
Oh, that's fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit and speak with me today. I'm sure our viewers have really enjoyed listening to your experiences. I know that I have. So I guess that's all that's left to say really, is that if there is anybody out there that is thinking about fostering, please do get in touch with us. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. You can get in touch with us by popping us a message through any of our social platforms. You can also search for us on Google, the Children's Family Trust, or visit our website directly at www.thecft.org.uk. Alternatively, if you do have any questions and you just want to pick up the phone and ask, just give us a call on 0300 111 1945. Meghan and Ellie, thank you again for doing this interview with me. I've really enjoyed it. So I guess I'll say farewell, take care, and I hope to see you both soon.